What's up, guys? Welcome back. So pretty much for today's video, it's gonna be short and simple, in all honesty. I know you guys have probably just seen a lot of body work lately on the car, and unfortunately that's all this car really consists of right now, due to the situation that I was put in. So I know you guys are probably tired of all that, and we're probably gonna take a break from that within the next video or so. But one thing I wanted to get done, at least in this video, is that it was brought to my attention by a friend of mine, somebody that has given me a lot of pointers in this whole painting process. Again, the gentleman's name is Aftermath1312, I believe it is, on Instagram. He has recommended for me to go ahead and put all of the doors and all of the body panels back onto the car. And the main reason why is to make sure that all of the body lines on the doors match up with each other to the fenders and to the quarter panels, because he has seen situations where there is a low spot or there is a high spot and things are just not lining up. In all honesty, I'm not going to go to the full extent of what he wanted me to do, or he recommended to do, was to go ahead and put another coat of high build and start blocking them on the doors to make sure everything is straight, I guess you can say. And the main reason for that is because, in all honesty, I don't want to deal with HOA. Me having to block the car outside and have more issues. As you guys already see, the car is covered up so it looks like it's a roller. So that's the reason why I haven't been bothered with. So for me to go do all that and bring attention to myself, it's just something I don't want to deal with another hassle over and over again. So what I'm going to end up doing is putting all of the four doors back onto the car, try to align them the best that I possibly can when I mount them onto the car, and that way we can start seeing what needs to be done as far as the gaps and everything else. I'm not going to go to the full extreme of making everything perfect. I want to get them somewhat there, just to make sure that all of these body lines here are all straight and all flowing with each other on all four doors. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the best at body work and everything else, and on here on this section you can feel the body line still, which I used a block that it's a special block that's curved for it, that had the curve to it, and I just used that to make the body line. So I'm pretty sure everything is straight, but I want to make sure that we are golden on pretty much both sides of the car. So here you can also see the same body line going from here all the way across, and everything looks really good, in all honesty, for at least from my opinion, right? But again, I'm not a body person. I've never done body work. This is my first time ever even just sanding a full door panel and so on and so forth. So let's just go ahead, get everything put onto the car, at least for now, and see how we're looking as far as the body lines of the car. I still have to put the hood and the trunk back on, or the trunk is on. I just have to put the hood and the fenders and everything back on, just to make sure, again, everything is straight. And if everything is straight, then honestly we can start moving on to the base coat of the doors and getting that situated so that way the doors will be done. I kind of just still need to finish up the hood and the trunk by giving it a light scuff, because it was already painted by the old painter, and it was already body worked by the old painter. So we are gonna have to put sealer across all of the doors and all the panels that are gonna get painted, just so that way we make everything symmetrical and make sure everything is smooth, and that way when we put coverage of the base coat, everything will go on smooth and cover exactly the same across the board. Alrighty guys, so front two doors, or for one side of the doors is on, and in all honesty it looks pretty good as far as the body line. So this is what I got so far without having the strikers on and the locking mechanisms inside. So this is what I'm looking at so far, and I know a lot of it's gonna have to come down to where when we align things and everything else, I may have to touch up a little spot here because it did chip it when I put this door on. But other than that, in honesty, I think we're looking golden. Body line looks straight, it matches up here, and that's what all I'm really worried about once he brought it to my attention. Like I said, there's gonna be a little sanding stuff here where I need to get to, but that's just like these little blemishes that are in there from the old primer still being on the high build. So what I'm gonna do now is actually put on the fender, and hopefully that the line or the body line still lines up with that, because the rear quarter panel lines up perfectly fine. The bottom of the doors line up perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and put the fender on, and then that way we can start doing the other side, and we'll start putting on the whole front end also, just to make sure everything is 100% good. So I'm not gonna say I'll go ahead and retract that. I'm not gonna go for 100% good. I want it to be at least decent for myself, because again, this is not a show quality paint job. I don't have the time to go ahead and block all the doors, which I'm hoping the other side comes out as good as this. And if it does, then we are honestly looking golden. I think that's the word Dana was talking to me about that just yesterday, that I say a lot now instead of, you know, the old word that I used to say at the end of the day. So now I think we're looking pretty golden. But yeah, let's go ahead and do the fender on it, and then that way we can move on to the other side. Alrighty guys, so pretty much as you guys can see here, all of the body lines are matching up on the passenger side, so I know we're pretty good on here. I do notice what Aftermath 1312 was saying about the low points, and I'm pretty sure I can still adjust this area if I pull the door out slightly a little bit and I give it a little bit more gap. I know it's probably going to affect the alignment of the rest of the door, but again, I am not going to the full detail of making this full show car and everything else, because I've already faced a lot of dilemmas in it and I'm kind of over it. I just really want to get this car situated with, so we can continue making progress on the rest of the car. I also ended up putting on the hood and pretty much adjusting everything all at once, because I wanted to make sure, again, the fitment of everything was good. Of course, all of this is going to have to be adjusted, but this is where I got it to right now, and it is flush right now because I did put the rubber grommets on it to make sure that we set the height and know where it's at. And right here we are perfectly fine, just like over here. Remember, this is a fiberglass hood, so I know there's always going to have to be adjustments and everything else. Not everything's going to line up correctly, as far as like here, you know, I can smack my fender here, I can smack my fender on this side here also. It is fiberglass. I know it's not an OEM fitment like if it was metal, something I've always known about because I deal with this kind of stuff. So as far as fitment of the doors doors and all the body lines, if you look at it, are pretty solid. They do flow across, and everything looks to be pretty golden. Yeah, so now the next move for me, in all honesty guys, is gonna be the engine bay. So once the engine bay is finally finished, which is not that much to do, it's probably about another week's work to do to it, to make sure everything is smooth, is basically finalizing little areas like this. You can see little pinhole still that's rough and that needs to be sanded and smooth, just like this area here on the wheel tub, and also on this fender area here. I did make a hole there when I ended up spot welding with the welder, and I still need to fix that. But this area needs to be smoothed out, threw some sealer on it, and then little areas like I said, but nothing major that's going to take a long time. I would rather just dedicate a week making sure things are done correctly in this engine bay, so we know pretty much we are good. I don't want to see no real rough edges or anything like that. Even though I'm not aiming for a show quality engine bay, I still want it to look smoother than that right there, guys. If you guys get what I'm saying. Again, this is not going to be a show car or any of that stuff. It is going to be a street driven car, but I do want to make power, and I do want it to look somewhat decent, at least when it hits the street. But before we end the video guys, I'm going to go ahead and tape up these windows, because the cat has come back and has made his home again in my car and has created a mess with his hair. Alrighty guys, so pretty much as you guys seen, everything is finally taped up now, and that way we can pretty much cover the car up with the car cover once again, and that way honestly this cat will not get back into my cab of the car. As you guys already seen, there's a bunch of hair in it, and I was supposed to tape it up last time. I totally forgot about it. I put the car cover on it and I handled my business with my family, and then next thing you know I found out now that the cat's still going in there, so I have to evict him finally. I didn't kill him or any of that stuff. I just evicted him out of my car. He technically lives next door with the lady next door, but yeah, so now basically I have no more meow meows in my car, and Dana can have all his cats back. But again guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the little progress of it. I know it wasn't much that we did, but at least we were able to pretty much put all of the doors on along with the hood and the fenders and align it to the best of my capabilities, at least temporarily. I just needed to make sure all of the body lines were symmetrical and they looked perfectly straight, and that way pretty much we can keep rolling. Aside from that, the next move for this car is actually to start concentrating on the engine bay and finally finalizing it and finishing it once and for all. As I stated before, there's only a little bit of minor tweaks and sanding that needs to be done to the engine bay, at least for my standards. Again, I'm not going for a full Bondo effect of, you know, flat panels and everything else like a lot of people do.
I like the symmetrical of seeing the body lines move around in the engine bay. I just like that, period. I've never liked that full shaved tucked bay. So pretty much, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this video. In the next couple of videos, guys, we probably are going to go ahead and just concentrate on the engine bay and also finalize these last few parts that need to get sanded. Now that the doors are out of the way, now that the hood is out of the way, and pretty much the trunk is out of the way, because none of that really needs to be touched anymore, because it was finalized by the painter and it is pretty smooth and it is pretty good. I'll just probably hit it with a Scotch Brite to give it a little bit of texture, so that way we can get enough bite into the paint. Aside from that, I just need to finish the side skirts, the rear valance to the rear Mugen kit, and also the front bumper along with the front lip. Other than that, once everything is done, pretty much everything will be ready to rock and roll. And I think we're probably, I would say honestly, about 80% there, with the exception of those parts. And once we get the engine bay and once we get at least the side skirts and the rear valance, I can pretty much deal with the front bumper, and I can deal with the front kit being the way it is, because it is pretty clean for what it is. It just has some little nicks and it needs a little bit of attention of clear. Other than that, it looks pretty solid. But we are going to go ahead and give that attention at a later date, once we pretty much get the car at least rolling around with the engine inside, and we can start putting parts on it, because I need to start clearing the shelves. I need to get rid of this paint booth, so that way we can start making a little bit more progress every single day. So once we get everything painted, basically we'll start assembling everything, and the goal is actually start painting the doors, the hood, and the trunk all in one section or one session, and then we'll go ahead and paint the engine bay and make sure that all of that's done. There's going to be kind of a technique that we do to the engine bay, because painting it with the paint gun is going to be extremely hard, at least for myself. I don't know how to paint, and something I'm still getting used to. So we are going to do a different way, and I'll go ahead and explain that at a later date when it's time to paint. But yeah, with that being said, guys, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and share this video if you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys look forward to more content of this all-wheel drive EK sedan, please hit the subscribe button, and again, let me know what you guys think of the build so far. But with that being said, guys, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Till next time.